bringing to you. Every time we turn live, man, you know it's the truth. Every after show, moving down, this the time we move around. No Gimmicks podcast is going down. Every night, every time in the ring. This is the time for the No Gimmicks, know we doing our thing. What's your state of mind, state of mind? Moving down a statement when we take the line. This is exactly wrestling the state design. When you see Stone Cold like me, with the stunner in the world, exactly, man, what we bring. Every night we move like Brock Lesnar, the F5, No Gimmicks. We take you to your limit, what's the feeling? When we live in the air, you know we on, it's the time. Guarantee we move, you know how we respond. The state is mine, the state design when we feel it. Moving down, what's the healing? No Gimmicks.
Yo. Welcome back to episode 59 of the No Gimmicks podcast here on the DFPN. Special shout out to Montezi, man. Every time I hear that song now, I'm like, this shit is hard.
Yeah.
Shout out to Montezi for the intro, man.
It's banging.
Yeah, it does. It bangs. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it a lot. But yeah, shout out to him for that, man. So we got a good show for you guys tonight. Tonight we're going to be breaking down the worst booking decisions in wrestling history, and we got some current news with the sale of shares involving Vince McMahon and TKO. But before we get into all of that, if you are listening to the sounds of our voices right now, join us on the Patreon. Patreon.com/DFPN to get in tune with this show live. And you can follow us. You can come in and comment on the topics that we have. So as little as $3 a month. DFPN Patreon. Also subscribe to the Bandcamp. We got a lot of new music on there. Mark Sox put some new music out. E. Smitty just put some new music out, and he did a good interview with Master Ace, who he's going to be doing some music with, and possibly a tour from what that podcast let us know. So all of that stuff is on the Bandcamp. $3 a month will get you the entire catalog from that feeling. And of course, we got the merch. Head on over to the Teespring, search That Feeling Podcast, get yourself some merch. Also, December 9th, Mission Pro Wrestling, San Antonio, Texas, Silver Bells 3. No Gimmicks will be in the house. We did secure a sponsorship. We'll let them announce that later at a later date, but we will be a part of that show as a sponsor as well. Also, they will be doing a toy drive. So if you're in the area and you are going to the show, make sure you bring some toys. They will be donating to the Salvation Army. So if you plan on going to the show, make sure you go ahead and bring yourself a toy to donate. It is very much worth the cause. So Mission Pro Wrestling, December 9th, Silver Bells 3. They already announced 2 great matches. So Kylan King is she has Izzy on her plate for this show. So
really?
Yeah. So that's already going to be a banger. And I know Misty Marks is going to be there. We interviewed her here on No Gimmicks. She's going to be in attendance and she's going to be wrestling. I know they announced that match, but I can't remember who she's wrestling. So, but she will be there. But as far as I know, that card is going to be fire. So I'm coming. I'm going to that show. But let's get into the show tonight, man. My co-host, the fabulous one. Actually, he's not the fabulous one anymore. He is the chosen one.
That's right.
It's about fucking time, bro.
Yeah. Frank D is officially retired. Frank D's gone, and I am what remains. So that's pretty much what we're doing here. I want to send a shout out on my own real quick.
Go ahead.
To a guy on YouTube. I follow his content. His name is Jacked Vader. If you don't know who Jacked Vader is, go to youtube.com and look up Jacked Vader. him and his son Mando. They be doing videos. They're very much into Star Wars universe, like I am, and dresses up as Darth Vader and does lightsaber videos and all that type of stuff. So I want to send a shout out to Jack Vader. Keep doing your thing, you and Mando. I really appreciate your videos. I watch that shit when I'm at work. So it's just want to send a little shout out there to them.
Nice. Actually, I want to shout you out too, bro. I see that you have been putting the content together, and you're starting to put out some content. It's dope, and I like what you got going on, man. Good shit.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that, man. It's just trying new things. Like apparently, a lot of people like when I do Star Wars shit, which I didn't think it would be. Especially when you look at Anakin Skywalker happens to be Caucasian, and I'm not. So so when I play Anakin, it's like it doesn't. People don't really see color with that. They just want to see, well, can you do the lines? Can you do the story? So I'm like, well, fuck yeah, I can do it.
Yeah.
So I have it. So I have the wife come in and she has the camera. So I'm like, okay, you shoot here, damn it. So the funny part is the blooper, because I'm like, so real quick. So I do the scene with Ahsoka.
I saw that one. That was a good one.
Well, it wasn't too good in the beginning, because what happened was when I first, when the scene goes, he says, is that what this is about? Back to the beginning. I gave you a choice, live or die. Right. So then he turns the lightsaber. The lightsaber is red. Well, I don't know what the hell is going on, but like my lightsaber I would turn the saber on and the motherfucker would be pink, or I would turn it on and I'm like, God damn it, dude! Like, so it's just so much shit that goes in this. And then when I do the Rogue One thing, I gotta make sure I'm like, okay. And then last night we were doing some stuff, and I was doing Vader, and something wasn't right, and I'm like, dude, I don't know what it is. So I'm like, let me do a hybrid Vader, which basically I have the chest box on and the belt, right, and I have the helmet on, but I don't have on the full suit. I just have this tunic robe, kind of like Lord of the Rings kind of shit, or
Is that what that was? Because I saw that too, and now I kind of wondered how you got there. But yeah, it's dope.
Yeah, and I'm like, so I did 2 takes. One of the takes didn't make it to the final cut. The other, I was like, let me do something different here, basically, where I'm Vader, but I don't have the helmet on. I'm myself, as Vader, as if I'm Vader, but I don't have. It's like I'm a Sith, but I don't have to have the Vader helmet on, because first of all, that damn thing is hot and heavy. So that's what it was. So I'm like, let me try it this way. So I went in there and I did this shit, and then I had to tune the hood over my head. Then I took the hood off, and then I'm basically acting like I'm trying to convince Obi-Wan to turn to the dark side, and that's what I'm doing. So it's just the lighting, and I got the music going. The song that's playing in the background, if everybody saw that video, the song that's playing in the background is actually called "Enter Lord Vader." Is what it's called. So everything I do is meticulous and very detailed, and I have to try to find a story that I'm going for in order to shoot it. And they're all just short videos. I'm just, trying to find my footing and doing what I'm doing.
That's cool.
That's cool. One of the actual enjoyments I get out of life.
Hey, man, if it makes you happy, do that shit, bro.
Exactly.
As long as you happy, man.
No, let me tell you real quick. So last night the wife's on the phone with her sister. They're on they're doing a video phone call, right? So I just happened to be, and I'm like, we had just got done shooting shit, right? So I'm still wearing I had on my Vader tunic, and I had on my Vader, my outer cape that Vader wears. So I'm just, and I got my hair down or whatever. So I walk behind the couch, whatever, and I'm like saying, "What's up to sister?" And her sister's like, "Why the hell is Dee dressed like a priest?" So like, oh my, I said, yeah, maybe a dark priest. You know what I'm saying? So shit. So it's like we just like it's like before this conference we just got done doing his cosplay shit. He's like this Star Wars cosplay videos and shit. So like it's just funny as hell. Like why did you dress like a priest? Like,
What are you doing?
All right, exactly. What the hell y'all got going on there?
Yeah. The hell? Do I need to hang up right now? Nah, he's good.
Right.
Oh, that's funny as shit.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Oh shit. All right, man. Let's get into this show. Topic number 1.
Yeah.
It was announced. Well, it wasn't really announced. It was reported because TKO hasn't made the official announcement yet that Vince McMahon sold 8 million of his shares to TKO for a total of $641 million. That is a large profit of money.
Right.
Also, I'm pretty sure that takes him out of the majority stake of ownership and it puts him kind of in the minority. And with all the news that was going on, it's hard for me to envision a scenario where Vince McMahon stays around as a part of TKO. It doesn't look good. if you were being incredibly honest and blunt, which we do here on the No Gimmicks podcast, it does not look like Vince McMahon is thrilled to be a part of TKO anymore, as he was when they first started announcing this deal, and he doesn't seem like that guy anymore. He seems like the mission was complete. It's time for me to take the steps to get out of here. That's what it seems like. The sale is complete for him. He's made his money. I don't think we see Vince around.
And I was, we talk about this all the time. We talk about it, offline a lot too. Like
right.
Vince McMahon's motivations, because Vince has a motivation and a motive for everything he does.
Right.
So I'm kind of wondering at this point, is it either they're trying to force him out, but forcing him out is this guy is making a shit ton of money forcing him out.
Right.
But on top of that, we've talked about this before as well. There is nobody in this business that knows more about this business and the inner workings of how this thing works than Vince McMahon.
Correct.
And that includes Triple H. That includes anybody who currently works for WWE. They're not Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon is the reason why all this exists to begin with. Okay?
Right.
Now, Vince is doing the smart thing. If he doesn't like the current situation, the current climate or something, he's doing the smart thing, and that's basically, I'm going to sell all my shares and get out.
Right.
When the AOL Time Warner merger happened in 2000 and 2001, remember, Ted Turner was forced out pretty much. He had no power. He was just a figurehead there and basically lost a pretty good sizable amount of his income due to that merger.
Right.
He lost all the assets that he had when he initially merged with Time Warner, which included World Championship Wrestling and the Atlanta Hawks and the Atlanta Braves and all that shit. He basically lost all that. So Vince McMahon, on the other hand, is being smart about it. If I don't want to be a part of something, I'm going to make my money. So sell 8 million shares, get $600 million. It's perfect for him.
It works.
It works out. And I think a lot of it too is I think maybe Vince McMahon knows something that the rest of us don't know and are not seeing at the moment. Because, like I said, the company, listen, people can say all the time that, oh, well, the company's, they're doing record profits and yada yada yada. Okay, well, Blak Makk from Fox sees it differently than what WWE sees. And he was, and the Murdochs and Fox were told the WWE would be drawing a certain number, and they didn't meet that number. And I guess they have very strict guidelines to be a part of Fox, and as far as advertising goes. And basically, what he said was too much money going out, not enough money coming in. It's pretty much what it was.
It's not worth the risk.
It's not worth the risk. Yep. So what does WWE do? Well, they can go back to one of their familiar partners, which is the USA Network, and bring SmackDown back. To me, people can look at it a different way. No gimmicks. We tell it like it is, and this is just my opinion. I think it's an L
I
because
share that opinion.
you're going back to the USA Network. Yeah, you might be getting a bigger bag, but you're not going to get a bigger bag than what Fox could have offered you because Fox has more exposure. Fox has more penetration. It's a broadcast network as opposed to a cable network. So
Yep.
that's an L to me, and it's really an L because of all the great things that people were saying about the Bloodline storyline and how it was carrying SmackDown, and obviously it wasn't carrying it good enough because once again, when we talk about numbers here, okay, apparently numbers mean something to networks and so does advertisers because that's how they make their income.
Yep.
And WWE just wasn't putting it out. You know, I mean, look at where SmackDown has come, bro. SmackDown used to draw 5, 4, 3s in the ratings, and now they do like what 2.5 million every week. That's
Yeah.
their that's a hardcore number that's going to watch that show. Same thing with
Right.
Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw back in the day used to get 6s, 5s, 4s, 3s. Now we're down to getting, what, 1.4 million viewers a week, something like that. That's where we're at. We're doing basically TNA numbers when they were on Spike TV on Thursday. That's kind of where we're at.
Yeah.
So tell me, ladies and gentlemen, once again, where are all the wrestling fans? Where are they at? AEW Dynamite does consistently 800, 900,000 people. That's your hardcores that are going to watch the show no matter what. You have your hardcore Raw audience that's going to watch no matter what, and you have your hardcore SmackDown audience that's going to watch no matter what. Those people don't matter. You need the casuals to come out and watch the show because the casuals, they're not going to be hardcore and familiarized with the show, but they may be like, oh shit, I got to watch this, and then I will buy tickets to the arena, or I'm going to buy the advertisements that I see that come across my TV screen, or I'm going to buy the merchandise stuff. That's how you grow the business. You can't grow the business by saying, oh, we're touting, we have all these views on YouTube and yada yada yada. That doesn't mean shit because it damn sure didn't mean shit to Fox.
True. True. And we talked about this too, like how big a L that was for them to actually not be interested in getting them. That was a huge L. Huge L. And you don't know, for all intents and purposes, it looks good. And WWE, they are very good at spinning this shit.
Oh hell yeah!
Like they
Oh yeah!
are excellent at spinning it because they made SmackDown going to USA seem like a very huge move. And their audience was actually happy about it. But financially and a business move, it's like, why would you give up your biggest bag? That does not seem logical. It actually seems like a pretty terrible move, business wise.
It's a terrible move, and then it's like, okay, so here's where you gotta look at this like this too, Black. So you have SmackDown going to USA.
Yep.
You have NXT going to the CW.
Yep.
Raw right now does not have a home.
Exactly.
What is going on here? Like Raw was the flagship show for WWE, and
It's search for a home.
yeah. So what's going on here? Basically, like why can't they make a deal for Raw? And they're talking maybe
That's even crazier
right.
because
No, it's insane.
yeah, it's crazy. That's the craziest part of it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we'll take SmackDown. It's almost like USA is saying, we'll take SmackDown because SmackDown's let's be honest, it's your highest rated show. It's the show that all eyes are on. People don't even pay attention to Raw. USA is saying this, and they have Raw. That's exactly what they're saying. We'll take SmackDown.
They're saying it, but they're not saying it. Like
exactly.
They're saying it, but they're also being like, well, you know what? Maybe Monday Night Raw is kind of passe at this point. It's just
right.
And that's why Endeavor has come in and says, well, maybe we don't have to have Raw on Mondays. Maybe we can move Raw to Tuesdays or Wednesdays or something like that. It doesn't have to be Monday nights wrestling night anymore.
Exactly.
Because, bro, it's
competing.
It's competing, but at the same time, it's basically showing you just basically the devaluation of the show. Just like it's not
true.
it's not there anymore. Like there's
No,
there's
it's
nothing
not.
special anymore
No.
about Raw. There's nothing really special anymore about SmackDown. Those days are gone. Raw, and people can say whatever they want, bro. But you lived it and I lived it. The most exciting times for Monday Night Raw is when it was going head to head against Nitro.
Yep.
That's it. That's
Yep.
what brought people to the dance because and how I know this is you go look at the ratings numbers. Go back and look at the rating numbers for Monday Night Raw 1993 when it debuted, January 1993 up until September 95 when
But
WCW came along.
that speaks to the product overall nowadays,
Right.
right? Because back then, and this is just the truth, wrestling is not pop culture anymore. Wrestling back then was pop culture. It was everywhere because
Yep.
you had stars. You had stars like The Rock who could cross over and do the Saturday Night Lives, do an album with Wyclef Jean and make that shit pop. Like he had crossover appeal everywhere.
Well, we
We
go
don't,
back before that though. But
yeah, even Hulk
I get
Hogan.
what I get what you're saying, but let's go back before that. Let's go
Yep.
back to the WWF days during those days when you had wrestlers that would appear on Arsenio Hall.
Right.
You had Warrior on there.
You had Macho Man
Macho
and
Man
yeah.
several times. You had
Yeah.
the Twin Towers with Slick were on the show.
Yep.
Bad News Allen was on the show. Ravishing Rick Rude and Bobby Heenan were on the episode. Then you had Regis and Kathy Lee
Yep.
when wrestlers would go over there.
It was big time.
Later on, you find out Kathy Lee didn't really like the wrestlers being on the show, but whatever. It was big time. Your biggest stars: Hogan, Macho Man,
Right.
Bret Hart. Bret Hart was on Lonesome Dove back in the day. There was a big crossover. Lex Luger, all these different people. They were bigger, larger than life characters. There are no larger than life characters anymore in this business. There are none. So you look at it like, oh yeah, WWE. Okay, that's pretty much what you get now. Because it's
Right.
like it's like people say the old airport thing. If you're walking through the airport, are people going to recognize you? Yeah, they're going to recognize you. It's going to be the eBay scalpers who are going to want your autograph so they can put that shit up there.
Right.
That's what it is.
Right.
But you'll maybe get a casual here and there that still watches and be like, oh hey, can I get an autograph with you? Can I get a picture with you? You feel me? But
Right.
majority of your hardcore fans now, they're going to the conventions to meet these people. Or you're sitting outside a hotel room hoping to get a glimpse, but you're a hardcore fan. You watch every week. Where are all the people at that used to watch? Where
Right.
are all these wrestling fans that on a Monday night you would have 7-8 million people watching wrestling?
Correct.
You don't have that anymore.
Right.
And people say, well, why is that? Well, it's basically it's a change of the times. It's like there are no big stars anymore in the business, as you pointed out. The Rock, there are no more Rocks. There are no more Stone Cold Steve Austins.
Right. Right.
There are no more Hogans. There's no more Savages, Bret Harts. The NWO. All the cool factors, all the cool shit is gone.
Yeah.
What you have now is what you have. There ain't no cream of the crop. It's what you have, and that's
Right.
not knocking. That ain't knocking anybody.
No, it's not knocking anybody.
That's telling the truth.
It's a
because
fact, though.
I've been watching this shit since I was a kid. I've seen
It is a
all.
fact.
Seen it
There,
all.
and it's hard to say that there ever will be again. It really is, because now you have things like social media and it wasn't like that back then. Like your chance to see people was your chance to see people, and we won't go back to that again. Like the joy of being in the house at 7:57 is gone, bro. Like that shit is it's a distant memory.
The joy of being in the house at on the West Coast, Cali, at 4:55 when Nitro would come on. Anticipation for Monday Night Wrestling. Like I have to watch
it's
Raw.
Gone.
I gotta watch Nitro.
Or even the conversation, because the conversation now is so instant because we have social media. But like the classroom chatter, I like to call it. Like if you seen something fire on Monday night, you couldn't fucking wait to go to school and talk about this shit on Tuesday. You couldn't wait.
Yeah, it's like if on that Sunday, if you saw a pay-per-view on that Sunday, damn, I can't wait to get to school Monday.
Oh
like,
my
hey,
God,
did you see
bro.
the show last night?
Yeah.
You don't have that now.
I can't wait to watch Raw. Are you? Can I come to your house and watch Raw? Like, y'all want to watch this shit together? Like, that shit's gone, bro. Like, those days are done.
Yeah.
It's done.
I'll tell you how seriously we took it. When I was in in high school, shit, we that around that time we had the black and white and the wolf pack. So shit, we some of us come to school with our black and white shirts on. Other friends come to school with our red and black shirts on, and we get it on. And
Yep.
people think, "Oh my God, it's a riot." No, it's not. We're playing wrestling. So black and white.
Yeah,
versus
no,
wolf
we
pack.
used to do that shit too.
Yeah,
We used to do that too.
but it's
Like,
funny because and it goes to show real quick. It goes to show you when you look at the merchandise being sold right now, the top 10 of merchandise, bro.
half of it is from our teens.
Yeah, the NWO is still there
Yep.
as a hot merchandise item.
Yep.
Stone Cold Steve Austin is there as a hot merchandise item.
Yep.
Those were two pinnacle points of the Monday Night War Attitude Era. They're still top today with merchandise. That's the most recognizable. NWO is probably NWO outside of Hulkamania is probably the most recognizable logo in the business, like still to this day.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that.
We No gimmicks podcast. You're seeing it right here. The shirt I'm wearing. It's you go for the cool factor. You go for what works,
and it still works.
It still works. You can pop. You want to pop the numbers? WWE, bring this shit back.
Yep.
Bring it back. You will pop a number. People will be talking. They ain't gonna be talking about that. I'm sorry. They ain't gonna be talking about the LWO. You bring the NWO back, and the NWO will run roughshod over them like they did in the WCW. This is what happened.
Yep. Absolutely.
But in saying that, sir, the biggest L of the year has to go to Billy Corgan and the NWA still.
Oh, yeah. Hands down.
Yeah.
Hands down.
And
bro, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, with everything going on, like, you had like the advantageous position. You had the most advantageous position, and you let that shit slip between your fingers.
That is the most asinine thing I've ever seen, bro. Like, and we talked about this in the last No Gimmicks. You know, when we covered last week, we covered the 1996 Survivor Series, which is available right now in the archives and on Spotify. Yep. And everybody else, you listen to a podcast, check it out right now. It's just crazy to me. And then, to further elaborate on this, more information has come out about Tony Khan talking to the CW last year at one point.
Yep.
And possibly pitched Ring of Honor to them. And I think they might have been interested in picking up Ring of Honor. And
I think they still might be. But the thing
he wants to keep it on the umbrella. Well,
yeah.
He must
I think he might have pulled the trigger. I think he might have did that if he had a deal in place for the rest of AEW. If he had a deal for the rest of his other shit, I think he might have pulled the trigger, and it would have made sense. Yeah. It absolutely would have made sense for them to go to CW.
Yeah, people are saying right now too that Tony Khan actually made an error in not pursuing that, because
I believe he did. I believe
Ring of Honor is its own thing.
Yeah,
Ring of Honor right now is pretty much piggybacking off of AEW. And at the same time, it's like, I posted in our Facebook group the other day about what Conan had to say about, Ring of Honor. And I tend to agree with Conan. It's a nice wrestling company for a niche audience that likes that style of wrestling. But in reality, look, here's the thing. Ring of Honor and TNA started around the same time.
Mm.
And TNA surpassed Ring of Honor in every kind of way. They did. TNA.
I would agree with you there.
They had the bigger budget. They had the bigger networks or whatever, and the only thing that they had in common was they at one point both had financial issues, and they were picked up by another conglomerate. Ring of Honor picked up by Tony Khan. Then you have TNA picked up by Anthem. That's the only thing they have in common. But you put into the majority of history and what people remember about this business, what I remember about this business, I'm always going to go back to TNA, because TNA was putting out banger after banger after banger. They were doing it, and they were, that exhibition, the exhibition matches they were doing. Uh, a lot of Ring of Honor guys were going to TNA at the time. That's how Samoa Joe came over. The Samoa Joes. The Young Bucks, when they were Generation Me, came over to TNA. You had a lot of people that came through TNA's. I mean, when you talk about video libraries, right? When you have that conversation,
extensive.
Which video library is worth more in value? Is it the Ring of Honor library or TNA? It's the fucking TNA, hands down. It is the TNA video library. You have so many stars that have come through TNA that work for the AEW now, that work for WWE. That's why WWE wanted the library at one point.
Yep.
They wanted it. They didn't. I don't know. I might be wrong. I don't think they ever went after Ring of Honor's library, because I think Ring of Honor was still in business.
I don't think they did. I don't think they did.
No. They went after TNA. I know for sure they went after them. They wanted that library. The TNA was smart to hold on to it, and you could go and watch all that stuff. Because like I said, man, like when people talk about TNA, bro,
TNA has some. TNA had like some classic shit. They really did.
I'm gonna tell you, Vince Russo, I think it was Vince Russo, said the other day, and I kind of tend to agree with this. Russo said that the Main Event Mafia was a better faction than the Bloodline, and I kind of technically tend to kind of agree with that. Yeah, and I thought about it for a minute and just think about everything we've seen.
That's a tough statement.
You gotta go back and watch that Main Event Mafia shit. Because
that's a tough one. That is a tough one.
I think what he's looking at is just the sheer amount of star power you had in the Mafia.
Yeah, you did. But God, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Let me think about it.
They fumbled the ball with the Bloodline.
They did. They fumbled now, if you'd have told me Aces and Eights is better than Bloodline, hands down.
No, not at all.
You don't think I think Aces and Eights was a better story than the Bloodline.
Absolutely not. No.
So you're saying Main Event Mafia is a better story than the Bloodline?
The Bloodline story peaked.
I think
the Rumble.
Yeah, that's
true. Where it
peaked. That's a fact.
It peaked at the Rumble. Everything else that came after it was just whatever. It was all
that is a fact.
Okay, that's
let's go. Let me say it peaked. When was Sami Zayn versus Roman? That's when
that was in February.
That's when it peaked.
I agree.
Because that match had so much hype around it.
They waited too long for the Jay turn.
Yeah.
And all that. I mean, I know the story they were trying to milk it out or whatever. So to me personally, just because I saw it all, I've seen it all. And when I look back at the Main Event Mafia, it was just so entertaining, bro. And it just wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
It's just, and everybody, and it's like, okay, 1 week Roman's there, and it's like, because they have to keep this thing going. When Roman wasn't there, and when Roman wasn't there, it just wasn't interesting. To be honest, it wasn't.
Yeah, but that's true. But that also speaks to the strength of Roman, for the fact that you can't get people tuning in, and he ain't even there. But people are still invested in the storyline.
People were invested in the storyline to see him lose, to see him get his ass whooped. That's why people were invested in his storyline. Roman is
I think now, and I think Roman may actually be hurt or healing, which is why he hasn't really been around that much. But I think, for all intents and purposes, that story, once him and Jay in that tribal combat match, that match took me out of it.
Yep.
That match took me completely out of it.
It took me out of it too, and the reason why is because, number one, there was supposed to be no interference from any of the members.
Right. That match, it wasn't it. It wasn't it.
Jimmy's betrayal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
It
gonna
was
go.
so. It was so much like what?
Yeah, this is
Like
so stupid. You
what?
the entire time you're trying to convince him to leave the group.
Right.
You
Like
pulled
y'all
the trigger
just did
first.
this whole angle, like
Yep.
you out and I'm out too, and then now he's betraying them, and it's like
Yeah.
that's
See,
stop doubling back.
they had so real quick in the main event mafia angle, they had some sort of similar situations going on,
Right.
but it was involving Sting and Kurt Angle because even though they were the mafia, they were the family.
Mm-hmm.
It all became about, well, I want to be the world heavyweight champion. And some of the stuff Sting necessary because see this people got to remember something about the main event mafia. This was about this was probably the second or third time in his career Sting had been a heel.
Mm-hmm.
So they were telling that story. Like Sting was cool with some of this shit, but he ain't cool with all of this shit. So it
Right.
became a problem within the mafia because they wanted to be the mafia wanted to be ruthless. In the mafia, you had Kevin Nash, you had Booker T, you had
Right.
Scott Steiner, you had Angle, you had Sting. So you had a core group of people here that were world heavyweight champions,
Oh
biggest
yeah.
biggest stars. That's what made
Big
it different.
stars.
A big group like this. And I'm not the biggest Booker T fan, but Booker T shit at that time when he was doing
Yeah.
the
I
Legends
gotta give you
champion,
that too.
the African accent and all that. Oh, it was funny, hilarious shit. But they were telling that story, and that story was eventually the mafia is going to turn on Sting because Sting ain't ruthless enough
He's
with
too good of a guy.
it.
Fuck.
Exactly.
I
So
hate
that's
that
where they
you're
were
changing
going
my
to.
mind. I hate that you're changing my mind. I
Yeah,
really
it's
hate.
good shit, bro. It's like I can pinpoint that right. All that stuff that was going on with the mafia, and then they had that empty arena match with Kurt and Sting.
Yeah.
Um,
God damn it.
yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Now you look at the weak factor of that storyline. It was the TNA originals or whatever they were called. The
Yeah.
AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, all
Yeah.
these guys sent them to the mafia. That's that's kind of where it goes. But if you look back at this storyline here with the bloodlines, like okay, well, what stands out, right? Okay, Sami Zayn finally turning on Roman, but then
Yep.
everybody gets destroyed by Roman. That's the problem. At least with the mafia, they put some people over in the mafia. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
on top of that, Eric Young at around this time, Eric Young turned heel in TNA as well. He had his own faction, Royal Elite, and then Royal Elite and the Mafia kind of joined forces to form this super group to combat the TNA guys. So it was just so much like I got to go with Russo on that one, man. It's like it's just the Mafia over here.
Yeah.
Only
I
time
don't know.
I only think the
I'm
Mafia.
still on the fence, but
Well, here's the
you
thing.
make some good points.
The only thing about the Mafia that didn't make any sense was when Samoa Joe joined the Mafia.
Yeah, because why?
Yeah, it's like you had been fighting
Yeah.
the Mafia. They took you out, and then you come back as the Nation of Violence, and then you join the Mafia. So that didn't make any sense to me at the time.
Yeah.
Then Taz joined the Mafia. So it's a lot of stuff. Yeah, listen, people, don't take my word for it. If you go on to the Impact Wrestling TNA YouTube channel,
Yeah, go watch this shit.
they have a whole thing breakdown of the main event Mafia from start to finish. They have it
Yep.
up there. And I
Yep.
watched the
Go
whole
watch
thing
it.
just like I watched the Bloodline story from start to finish. And the Bloodline story from start to finish was basically Roman trying to manipulate Jay and the Usos and joining him and creating this super faction that in reality they put nobody over. That's just what it is.
Strong statement.
Just that's no different than the NWO. The NWO didn't put anybody over either. They barely put anybody over. I mean, the only person that the NWO, if you look at the NWO era, the only person that was made really during that time was Diamond Dallas Page and Goldberg. Those only two
Hey, I
guys
was
I
about
can
to
see
say
that were made.
Goldberg. Yeah, you'd be right about that.
Yep. They ain't put
Diamond
anybody
and
over.
Goldberg. Goldberg more. Well, oh, that's a hard statement to say. Who got over more? Because Goldberg they built up and
They were neck and neck. But
yeah,
except
it was neck
the
and
problem with Page for some reason is when Diamond Dallas Page became the world champion at Spring Stampede '99 in April that year. at the Tacoma Dome in Tacoma, Washington. He became a champion in that fatal four-way match where Macho Man was referee. For some reason, the fans kind of turned on DDP.
Yeah.
Like after, and it was crazy. After he became the world champion, they turned on him, and I don't understand that. That's when it happened. They turned on him, and that's when DDP turned heel, and that's when he joined up with Kane and Bigelow, and they were the Jersey Triad.
I actually like that faction.
Oh, I did too. I did too.
That was a cool faction. I'm not gonna lie.
See, that's the thing about No Gimmicks, man. You come on here, you listen to No Gimmicks, you get a history lesson, bro. I go detail, I go into shit. I tell you everything in public.
Oh shit. Good shit though, man. Let's get into the meat and potatoes.
Exactly why we're here.
Why we're here. So I had a top 10. Do you have a top 10?
I don't. I'm gonna go with
gonna rattle them off.
Yep.
You're gonna rattle them off. All right.
Yep.
I have a top 10.
Good.
So I'll start them off. So the worst booking decision in pro wrestling history. I have a top 10 of them. I'm gonna start at number 10. My number 10 was ending Goldberg's streak.
Ah, yes. Yes.
That man, and we just talked about him. That man was built up as a monster, bro.
Yep.
It like for the people now, and this show is coming full circle to number 10, but you really had to see this shit as it was happening.
Yep.
Because it came out of nowhere. Like he beat Hugh Morris's first match.
Yep.
And like they made such a big deal out of it that it was like, okay, who is this guy? Like, I don't know who he is, but I got to pay attention. By number 10, by 50, he was monster, bro. Like, he was a monster. And it was just like, no way he's going to get to 100. Oh, fuck, he got to 100. And it's like, no way he's going to run through the NWO. No way they're going to make him beat Hogan. He beat Hogan.
Yeah.
All of this to say, he gets in the ring.
Yeah.
He gets in the ring. He gets tased. The man, like, you could have went another 2 years with this man just being dominant because his matches weren't that long. It really wasn't long matches at all. Like, it was come in, can you take the spear? Nope. Get him the fuck out of here. Next.
Yeah,
and it worked.
And people, you really honestly, if you have the WWE Network or Peacock, whatever, you really need to go back and watch this stuff.
Man.
Go back and it's like Blak just said, you had to have been there at the time to realize the phenomenon of Goldberg. It's in WCW. Yep. And, you hear stories now, people talk about, well, they were piping in the cheers. Or that doesn't matter. I'm looking at the crowd and how the crowd would erupt. Now, let me tell you some of the things that hurt Goldberg in the long run. So, the fact you just brought up right there, he didn't have long matches.
Exactly.
That kind of hurt him because when you don't have very long matches, you get into a match with someone who's structured like a Diamond Dallas Page or a Bret the Hitman Hart, it's going to show.
Right.
But he was able to do some. I'm not minus Bret Hart. He was able to do some good stuff out there because he would take direction from the person he's in the ring with. And that's one thing about DDP. DDP was like Randy Savage, very meticulous in his matches and laying them out. We go do bang, 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 bang. You follow this, it's going to come out and it's going to be a great story. And I still say to this day, and I agree with you, that his best match probably is going to be Diamond Dallas Page, Halloween Havoc 98. That's going to probably be at the top. Now, when you talk about what we're talking about, which is the Starrcade 98 match with Kevin Nash, in which they blew the streak. Yeah, I could see you saying that and all that, but here's where here's the scenario. So the match ending would have worked if it had not been for all the interference. If it had just been Goldberg beating Kevin Nash down, and Nash goes down, the ref gets distracted. Then Scott Hall comes in and hits him with the taser. Okay,
It would have
that's
worked.
more sufficient.
Yep.
You eliminate Diamond Dallas Page and you eliminate Bam Bam Bigelow. Scott Hall hits him with the taser. That would make more sense for what was to come, which was the finger poke of doom. It makes more sense doing it that way, because what you're doing is basically, if a power bomb can't stop this guy on its own, I need some help here, and it would tell the story of just how devious and evil a character in Kevin Nash is, that
Right.
he would stoop to, because Nash is out here. Nash never officially, he was a babyface, but he never officially turned babyface. It's just people started liking the Wolfpack, so you went with it, and then you align him with Sting, you align him with Lex Luger, Conan, whatever. But it just shows you, oh damn, the Outsiders really, they were working together the whole time, because
Right.
Scott Hall came out and tased Goldberg with that taser, the counter prod. That would go into what they got going on here, and it would make more perfect sense, because then you go back to the video and say, oh, we had collusion all the time. What was the main focus of us splitting to begin with? Is because Hollywood lost the belt, and we had WCW was getting too strong. So I had to take two of their guys and put it with me, Sting and Luger. That took away some of the momentum from WCW. Then you go into, okay, Luger is really down with Nash, because look what happened in Georgia, and the Georgia Dome. It would have told a better story of why the Wolfpack got together, the Elite. And another thing that I would have done too, instead of having them basically, one side's Wolfpack, the other's Black and White, I would have just had it basically, dude, really called, we're the NWO Elite, red on one side, black and white on the other side. That's the logo. That's what I would have
Yep. Yep.
done. That's what I would have did.
Would have made sense.
Yeah.
Would have made more sense.
Yeah.
But as it stands, Goldberg streak coming to an end is at my number 10. That's
I agree.
That's my number 10.
Copy that.
My number 9 kind of follows the same vein. Nexus losing to John Cena.
SummerSlam 2010.
Yep.
Good grief.
Another case of these guys were white hot. The way they got introduced was something that we had never seen.
Not since the NWO days.
Not since the NWO days. We hadn't seen it.
Yeah.
They came in and wreaked havoc. And it was awesome. It was awesome. It was must see. It was must see TV. We had finally got back to that point. All for John Cena.
Yeah.
You fed him to Cena, bro. That was the wrong move. Now, Cena has been on the record of saying that he is not the type to how did he say it? And I don't want to make it seem like he said he buried him, because he didn't say that. He said he's not the type to like the rub off of him and it makes you a bigger star, right? He's the type, you get in there with him, like he'll give you the rub, but it's on you to keep the magic going.
Okay, so I get that part, but
right.
Let's go back a little bit. Let's go back a little bit. So it came out later on, after this, that Cena came up with the idea to beat Nexus in that match. Chris Jericho and Edge told him that this was a bad idea.
This is a terrible idea.
This is a terrible idea. Cena, mind you, Edge, Jericho been in the business a little bit longer than Cena. Told him this was a bad idea.
Yep.
We should be putting them over strong. Cena didn't listen to it. After the match happened, and I mind you, people, John Cena took a DDT on concrete floor at the Staples Center. Wade Barrett DDT'd him, I believe. It was Wade Barrett that DDT'd him. Or Justin Gabriel. One of the two. And he came back from that and beat them decisively 1, 2, 3. That was the end of Nexus.
Oh yeah.
Nexus never recovered from that.
Nope.
It was done.
It was done. It was a done deal.
It was
Like
over.
immediately, it was done.
Immediately, it was over. And after it was done, John Cena came back and says, "That was a bad idea.
Terrible.
It was
It was
bad."
a terrible idea.
He admitted it was terrible because it did nothing. It benefited no one except John Cena, and it didn't even really benefit him. And then we got some of the worst TV after that. John Cena joins the Nexus. It's just like, bro, we have to do a whole show one day about this, just bad factions and missed opportunities, because that
Yep.
was one of them.
That was one of them.
Nexus could have been hot. That logo could have been something, we talk about. And I'm like, brother, I have a Nexus t-shirt and I got a Nexus armband. The armband is hanging right there. And the damn t-shirt is in the closet somewhere buried.
Yep. And it's like it's a what if. What if they would have won that match? Because Cena he was the top guy. Like, what if they come out of that match victorious? What happens?
What happens is we come out of that match victorious. We, the Nexus, we have some demands because we beat you guys at SummerSlam WWE.
Yep.
So we have some demands here. And one of the demands is Wade Barrett, I want a shot for the WWE Championship. And he wins the WWE Championship. Further puts over the Nexus. Then later on, CM Punk enters the situation.
Yep.
Because then you have CM Punk joins the Nexus. And then there's an issue between Wade Barrett and CM Punk. And the Nexus chooses Punk over Barrett. And then everything else happens the way it does. Heath Slater and Justin Gabriel, they don't like CM Punk's antics that he's doing. They leave. They go join Barrett on SmackDown, and the core is more.
Yep.
That's what I would have done. And if people, remember the core had some badass theme music.
They actually did.
Yeah.
They actually did.
Oh, hell
and
yeah.
it was almost like I wanted them to succeed because of that shit.
A lot of people like to like dismiss the core. I love the core.
No, I loved them. I loved them.
I was a big Wade Barrett fan.
Me too.
So I love the core.
I actually Wade Barrett is also another one of those, man.
Underrated.
What? Yeah. What if, man? What if? But highly underrated.
Absolutely.
I wish he would have got more of a look.
Yep.
Because the way he got over the bad news was just like, damn, this motherfucker's actually really good.
I just think that people couldn't take him seriously.
No.
After the Nexus.
Yeah.
WWE was supposed to they filmed a Nexus documentary. So it's in their vault. Yeah, it's in their vault. It just has never been released.
Wow.
Yeah, you have a documentary. I have to watch it. Super fan Vlad. That they finally just released. Now,
I need to watch that one too. I heard it was really good.
Yeah,
I heard
me
it
too.
was really good.
And if people don't remember Super fan Vlad, it's the guy. Back in the day, there was one guy that was at all the shows, kind of like a muscular guy that used to have glasses. That's him.
Yep.
So they finally got around to releasing it. It's on Peacock. I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, I need to watch that too.
It's on my bucket list. It's real quick. So I'm watching. Last time watching Star Wars: New Hope,
Mm-hmm.
and the wife tells me, she says, you need to watch a movie called The Last Starfighter. I said, what the fuck is that? So I go and look at the trailer. I'm like, this is a Star Wars Back to the Future ripoff, and I love it. So I'm gonna put that on the bucket list. So I got the Vlad documentary, The Last Starfighter, and eventually, after I have a couple of cocktails, I'll watch Solo.
I'm telling you, man, Solo's not that bad of a movie.
Whatever.
It's an underrated movie.
Whatever.
All right, man. Get back to it. Number 8. I struggled with putting this one on here. Primarily because I'm not sure if this was a bad one or a good one, but it made the list. And that's ending the Undertaker streak at WrestleMania 30.
Whoa, bro. My God, you just brought back some memories on that one. Boy.
I struggled with this one because I was like, is it really a bad idea?
Yes. Yes, it was a bad idea. That right there, let me tell you. So when to me, like when you thought of WrestleMania up until that point, it was the Undertaker's streak.
Yep.
Who's Taker gonna wrestle?
It made
And
him the attraction at WrestleMania.
it made him the
It really
attraction, and it
did.
made WrestleMania the attraction. It's must see. Like if you don't see anything on that damn show, you got to see Taker and who he's wrestling, and if the streak is gonna come to an end. So I mind you, bro, me and the wife were watching this shit. We're watching the match, and I remember it like it was yesterday. I had a cup of coffee, and I'm watching it, and Brock Lesnar hits Taker with that F5, and 1, 2, 3. I damn near choked on the coffee. I was like, "What the hell?"
I think everybody was the black dude with the white shirt on. I think in that moment.
That was legitimate, bro. Like that was legit.
Everybody was like, what?
Yes. What? Yes. And we all just looking and it's like, what the that's what it was. I didn't want to watch it after. I didn't want to watch it after. I was like,
no, the pay-per-view was done. Yeah, it was done.
I know they still had Daniel Bryan and all that coming up.
It was done. The air, the energy, the soul got sucked out of everybody.
People
if you watched it on television, if you watched the pay-per-view, you were done. If you were there live, I know you were done.
Yes.
Your soul was crushed, bro.
I'm telling you, man, we were watching this and we were like, what the did they just do? Like, are you serious? The streak is over?
Yep.
Like, shit.
All you could hear in the entire building, bro, in the entire building, is Paul Heyman saying, you did it. You did it, right? You did it, Brock. You did it.
And
oh, my God.
It became crystal clear. Crystal clear. When they put the numbers up there. Yep. I'm like, oh, my God. Like, I know it's sports entertainment. I get it. But I was like, oh, just my heart sank. Like when I saw the numbers up there, like I am like it's like where were you when Hogan turned, right? Yep. Where were you when the Undertaker streak came to an end at WrestleMania? I'm like, my God, what the hell did y'all just
Why would you do something like that?
Yeah. And so to me, that should have been saved for a Roman Reigns or a Bray Wyatt.
I would have said Bray Wyatt. It would have been perfect to pass Bray the torch at WrestleMania by letting that be his first loss.
Yeah, he took the next. Next year he would wrestle Taker.
Right.
And one of my matches on the list comes from that very show.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm curious as to what that is. Very curious as to what that is.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Well, but listen, we can talk about it right quick. We'll for the focus of time, we'll continue on your list because you have a pretty good list. I'll just put this as the honorable mention.
All right.
Triple H versus Sting.
Oh, that's on my list.
Oh, it is.
That's next on my list.
Oh, is that right? Okay, well, shit. There you go.
That's number 7.
Okay, there you go then.
Number 7, Triple H versus Sting.
Boy. My gosh. What a time.
Listen, for all intents and purposes, Sting finally going to the WWE was something I lost hope on, and then it happened.
Yeah.
I really lost hope in the fact that he was actually going to go to WWE, and then it happened. And then my brain immediately went to, please God, let Sting and Taker be a WrestleMania match. But we did not get that.
Right.
That's bad decision number one. The fact that we didn't get that, because that was the window. Both men were still there. Both men are active. Let's make this match. It's probably going to be the best WrestleMania match ever. Right? We didn't get that. We got Sting versus Triple H, which I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. I guess if that's what we're going to do, I guess. And then the match happens. And then the one thing that we talked about this before too, the one thing that had me scratching my head is why on God's green earth would the NWO come out to help Sting?
Yeah, bro. Like that to this day
Why?
is a head scratcher. Why?
Why?
Why? Why would they? Now let me tell you something. What I would have done. I'll let me hear what you have to say about this.
Okay.
So if you go back and try to fix that finish of that match, how would you fix it? It's very simple. DX would not have been involved in this.
No, you can't.
What I would have done is, yes, Hall and Nash come out there as the NWO, maybe, or just as the outsiders.
Right.
They come out there, but they ain't coming out there to help Sting. They come out there to help their boy Triple H because it's the Click.
It's the Click. Yep.
That's what you do. You have them out there with Sean. Somebody does come out to help Sting, but it's not Hollywood Hogan. It's Hulk Hogan.
The immortal Hulk Hogan. Yep.
Red and Yellow Hogan comes out there and helps them. But they can't do anything because what happens is that, yes, Hogan comes out there. Yo, we take out Hall. You take out Nash. You helping Sting, right? You forgot two other guys, two other Click members. Here comes the Kid. You take out the Kid. You forgot Shawn Michaels. Where's HBK? HBK comes in. Booyah! HBK nails Sting with the super kick.
Yep.
1, 2 count. 2 count. Sting fires back on Triple H. Triple H goes down. Sting hits a Scorpion Death Drop. Sting hits the Scorpion Death Lock. Triple H taps 1, 2, 3. That's how you end the match.
Yep.
That's how you do it. You have the Click interfere, not DX. The Click interfere. Hulk Hogan, the lone savior for Sting. Mind you, Hogan comes out there as the Red and Yellow Hogan, possibly wearing, if they had any, Hogan comes out there wearing a WCW shirt or WCW Monday Nitro t-shirt, something like that.
Yep.
That shows his allegiance to Sting. The outsiders come out there, they either wearing just regular street clothes or they're wearing either the Click t-shirt with the Click, the Too Sweet, or they're wearing shirts that say outsiders. That's how you do it.
Yep.
That's how I would have done it. But what they gave us was trash. They gave us trash. They tried to insinuate that this was a Monday Night War. It made no sense. It was an overbooked, colossal pile of shit. And it did not give Sting his just due, in my opinion. And I liked Sting in the WWE. I liked it, but I thought it was too late. I thought that if he had came over sooner, when he was in TNA, it would have worked out better.
Yep.
But it is what it is. And Sting has had a marvelous career since that in AEW, and we're coming up on Sting's last match. So that's a head scratcher. That right there, other than Triple H saying, okay, I beat the last remnant from WCW, that did nothing.
Yep.
Because later on, because Triple H came out later on with Stephanie, and they did the segment with Ronda Rousey and The Rock.
And The Rock. Yep.
And it's like, okay, dude, it would have made a much better deal if you had lost the match earlier in the night to Sting. If you would have put him over.
Yep.
And you can't tell me that didn't bother Sting. Even Scott Hall said this. Damn, who's your agent to Sting? Like, because they thought it was stupid. They're like, why the hell were you? Who agreed to this?
Horrible.
And
Horrible.
they came up with it. And they were like, yeah, we're gonna have you guys come out there. It was like, yeah, we got some NWO shirts for you guys to wear. And you're gonna come out there like, what?
Horrible shit. Horrible shit.
The black and white NWO would never help Sting. That's the whole thing. Like,
ever
would never help Sting. They were the reason Sting turned into the Grove in the first fucking place. It made no sense.
Yep.
Would have been a different story if the Wolfpack music would have hit. That'd have been a different story.
Sting was a part of the Wolfpack.
Yeah, the Wolfpack.
Yep.
But that would only be Kevin Nash. Because
not Scott Hall.
Not Scott Hall, not Hogan.
Yep.
Because they weren't in the faction at the time. But that's just me being the person I am that knows everything and has a sticker to detail and say, that's not right.
But
that logo is not right.
Yeah.
That's just me.
That was a glaring mistake. That was a glaring one. And it was just like,
yeah.
Why would you do that? Now, number 6 is in the same breath.
Oh, my gosh.
Triple H successfully retaining the world title.
Oh, God. It must be against Booker T.
Against Booker T.
Yep.
Terrible.
I don't know what to say, bro. If you got a guy out there cutting a promo and it had racial undertones to it, whatever they want to say or not, dude, it did.
Yep.
And coming out there saying, people like you don't, deserve to be world champ. People like you entertain me. So entertain me. You know what I'm saying? You come out here with your nappy hair and yeah. Okay, you can't tell me that wasn't race. But then later on, try to say, well, I wasn't talking about Booker T's race. I was talking about Booker T. Like, people like you don't become world champion because he was from WCW. Bullshit.
Nah, bro.
Bullshit.
Nah. Now, being that this was like right around that time that they started bringing in these guys, like, I could see how you try to correlate that, but still, bro.
No, you can't.
You can't.
Because here's the reason why you can't. WCW went out in March of 2001. Booker T debuted in June of 2001 at the King of the Ring.
Right.
Booker had already been there during the invasion. Booker T came to the WWF as both the WCW and United States Heavyweight Champion.
Yep.
So that right there makes no sense.
No sense. No sense at all.
It doesn't make no sense. Mind you, this was 2003 when his program started between these guys.
Yep.
Booker had already been there.
Yep.
Had already been world champion. He came from the company, was handpicked basically because he took the deal to be the world champion representing the WCW invasion. So right there, that makes no sense. Because if Nash, if Triple H says that about him, then he would have to say that about Kevin Nash.
Yep.
Because Nash was also WCW. You'd have to say that about anybody that came in there, including Goldberg, who was also WCW. Triple H just never lost to a WCW guy. That's just what it was.
Yep.
If you look back at his record, he never lost to anybody from WCW. They always lost to him.
That is true. That is just true.
So when you put it into perspective,
even Sting.
When you put it into perspective here of that match at WrestleMania 19 between Booker and Triple H, the wrong guy won.
Yep.
Period. The wrong guy won over, and it should have been Booker's night.
Yep.
That's just what it is. And
point blank. Period.
Yeah, and Booker T defends it and says, whatever, whoopity whoop and all that. And okay, that's fine. You can defend it, but as a fan watching it, that was a wrong move.
It was a wrong move. Absolutely,
it was a wrong move. Horrible move. And it's like, no.
Yep, I agree. All right, number 5. We're getting into the top 5. Worst booking decisions. And I almost didn't put this one because I didn't think it was a booking decision. But in the grand scheme of things, this was absolutely a booking decision because it was said live on the air and it was instructed to. Tony Schiavone on live television lets the audience know that Mick Foley has won the WWF Championship. And he goes, that'll put some butts in seats.
Yeah.
And is responsible for the ending of 83 weeks of dominance.
No, the ending of 83 weeks of dominance actually stopped way before that.
Well, yeah, that's true, but it was
The ending of 83 weeks actually was a
yeah.
night.
You're right. You're right.
That so when the win streak for WWF, well, real quick history lesson, people. The win streak for WCW came to an end the night that Mr. McMahon versus Stone Cold Steve Austin on Raw. That's the night
you're
that
right.
the 83
You're
weeks streak came to an end. But I will say this: this is when really the momentum really shifted over to the WWF.
You're right.
Say here, January 4th, 1999, WWF Monday Night Raw, which is taped, versus a live edition of WCW Monday Nitro from Atlanta, Georgia, at the Georgia Dome.
Yep.
WCW touted the main event, two main events. The first one was scheduled to be Kevin Nash versus Bill Goldberg, Starrcade rematch.
Yep.
They did a stupid angle with Goldberg in the beginning with Miss Elizabeth. Hollywood Hogan comes back. Hogan comes out there and basically accepts the challenge that Kevin Nash laid out earlier in the night. And says tonight it's going to be Hollywood Hogan versus Kevin Nash for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship, a real world title match right here on Nitro. These are not taped matches.
Nope.
All this. Oh, by the way, if you have your remote control in hand and you want to turn over to the competition, we want to let you know that later on tonight, Mick Foley, who wrestled here as Cactus Jack, is going to win their world title. Wow, that'll put a lot of butts in the seats. Yeah.
Ugh.
That's what he said.
Yep.
And that was directed to him by Eric Bischoff. Because Eric Bischoff had been giving away the results of WWF.
That was his tactic. That was his 95.
Tactic. That was his tactic. He hadn't done it in a while. They decided to put it on this night because they had been pretty much WCW getting their ass kicked for the last few months in the ratings. But WWF was really up there. Storylines, Vince Russo was knocking it out of the park at the WWF. They were kicking their ass. So when it comes down to it, they did this. And I tell you, brother, as a fan watching this, I'm listening to this. I'm not a smart fan yet, but I'm listening to this. And when I hear this,
I turned.
I didn't have the capability yet because we got the West Coast feed of Raw. So,
okay.
But what it comes down to is you look at the main events that night with Kevin Nash and Hogan, which turned into the Finger Poke of Doom. You look at what happened there, and then you look at what happened at Raw. What are y'all doing? You milk us in for 3 hours. You milk us in for 3 hours to pull off this, and you look at the crowd. And that's one thing I do when I go back and watch all this archive footage now on the network. I look at the crowd reactions. The crowd is looking like, what the hell is going on?
Pissed beyond belief.
There's one guy in the front row. I think he's got a black and white face. He's like an NWO Hollywood guy. And he was like, he's the only one. You got other people that's getting up like this. They can't believe it. And the NWO is having a good old time, and nobody knows what the hell is going on. Meanwhile, you look at the WWF show, you got the corporation out there, and DX is out there, and then the biggest pop on both shows, Stone Cold Steve Austin comes out there, grabs a steel chair, hits the Rock, Mick Foley hits the 1, 2, 3, and you see Vince over there fuming. He's up there.
Yep.
That's storytelling, bro. That's what got you in.
Foley's baby boy.
That's what got you in.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So
terrible move.
Terrible move. Terrible booking decision. Was not the end. It was not the end yet for WCW.
Nope.
Because even though this happened, it was still intriguing of what was this new NWO going to be? Why did they come back together? But damn, it just kept the momentum going for the WWF. And there's a YouTube channel right now that I follow, and I'm very supportive. It's Wrestling Bios,
Yep.
and there's a show he does called Reliving the War. We're following this right now as it's happening. We're going into, we just got off of, we're in February 99. So the WWF is building towards WrestleMania 15.
Yep.
Rock and Austin. WCW is building towards another Ric Flair versus Hollywood Hogan match. This time it's going to be in a steel cage. Yeah.
Yep.
So, yes, bro. You talk about fumbled.
Fumble.
Fumbled. And I believe I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, I think WCW won the ratings that night. They won.
They
But
did.
WWF was right on their ass.
It started the tide turning.
Yeah. They already, but the tide had already turned though, because like I said, WCW had been beating them. Here's the thing: WCW, I think after the 83 weeks win streak, or somewhere along the lines of when the last time they beat Raw, they never beat them again.
Right, exactly.
That's it. Now I have to do my research on what number that was, or what week, what show that was. They never beat them ever again.
Yep.
And that's how serious it was. And it was a lot of decisions. Basically, I think Eric was making at the time that led into this was because Eric was getting basically bullied by Time Warner and and how to produce WCW television. So there was a lot of shit going on there. But yeah, big bad booking decision right there. Horrible,
terrible,
worse than the white substance angle at NWA. What do you call it, Samian or Samhain?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, number 4. Actually, that was number 4, right? No, that was number 5. Number 4 is in the same show, The Finger Poke of Doom. The Finger Poke of Doom, and you laid it out perfectly. you laid that out perfectly.
Yeah, you picked it. Listen, you want to hear my thoughts on this? I said it at the beginning of the show because it was number 10. That goes all into all this. Once again, did not kill WCW, but it didn't help him either.
It didn't help it. It didn't help at all.
It's basically, it was a rehash of the NWO angle.
Yep.
Except this time you're turning people heel. So Lex Luger, who needed a heel turn in my opinion, because he had been doing nothing, turned heel. All the rest of these guys, they were the elite.
Setup was perfect.
The setup was perfect. The execution not so much.
Right. The setup was absolutely perfect. I was like, oh shit.
Because what it would have done, what should have happened was either, like I said before, you bring these two groups together. The shirt is red and black and white. You treat the two as equals. You don't bury the black and white NWO.
Nope.
That's
the original.
That's the original. You don't bury that. Okay? It doesn't matter how the Wolfpack, whatever. The black and white's the original. When you think of the NWO and you think of the badass NWO, you think of the black and white. That's what it comes down to.
Yep.
I'm sorry. When the WWF brought the NWO back in 2002, I don't remember hearing anything about them saying, well, we're going to bring the Wolfpack back. No, they brought the black and white. Yeah,
because the Wolfpack, for as awesome as I thought that the Wolfpack was, it was more of a comedic form of the NWO. They weren't as serious.
I don't know if it was necessarily comedic.
Not comedic, but like we're here for like, it's like a rock star type shit. It wasn't violence oriented. Not like black and white was.
I'll put it like this in perspective. This is what I'll say, and I think you'll agree with me on this. So when you think about the black and white in the Wolfpack, right? I look at the black and white. The black and white is Death Row Records. The Wolfpack is Bad Boy. That's why I look at it as.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The black and white was more they bought that action.
Right. Hollywood Hogan was basically Suge Knight in this situation.
Right.
And he was the baddest motherfucker.
Right.
He pulled all the strings in the black and white. Now, what they could have done in the Finger Poke of Doom was they could have said, okay, we're done with the Wolfpack. We're all going to go back to black and white. And it would have made Lex Luger would have been in black and white NWO, which never happened before, which would have made it more sense, because what you did was you took a whole faction that had been babyface, and you turned it heel. Problem with that is that people still love the Wolfpack, and then you turned the black and white guys and you made that the B team. Like, oh, the black and white ain't shit. So
Right.
basically, once again, you're devaluing your logos and all that because now it's
Right.
a joke.
Right.
The black and white NWO is a joke now. The most sinister group ever created in the business is a joke now.
Yep.
So execution's horrible. Horrible.
Yeah. Really bad. Bad that it made my top 5.
Yeah.
Top 3. So I'm gonna start at number 3. And number 3 also led us to the best booking decision, one of the best booking decisions ever in the business. That's the Montreal screw job. Because historically, this one incident did so much to the business. It did. It led to so much. And for what it gave us, so it gave us a heel character in Vince McMahon, one of the greatest heel characters ever created.
Yep.
Which is why I say it's also one of the best booking decisions ever.
Right.
The opposite end of that spectrum is that Bret Hart, I don't think I think that one incident, I don't think he was ever the same after that.
Nope. He wasn't. He was not. And a lot of it comes down to legitimate betrayal.
Right.
What it comes down to. And I don't know how anybody honestly could justify what happened to Bret Hart when Bret Hart had 30 days of reasonable creative control
Right.
of the outcome of the matches. I don't see how anybody can sit there and point the finger and say, well, Bret Hart was the problem, when everybody has gone on record saying that Shawn Michaels was the issue. He was the problem. And Bret signed a 20-year contract with the WWF, and Vince McMahon came to him and said, we can't afford to pay this contract. Go, open up your talks with WCW. I'll help you get over there or whatever. You hear all these stories. You say, well, Vince didn't really want Bret to leave, whatever. Okay, well, if he didn't want to leave, then he would have stayed. But at the same time, I will say this. Looking at Bret the Hitman Hart as a character, as a performer, all of that, the direction that the WWF were going to go into, Bret Hart would not have fit in that direction.
He wouldn't have fit. Yeah.
No. Bret
have fit.
Bret probably would have been miserable there with the direction that they were going into. I think Bret would have came around had the events continued the way they did with Shawn Michaels, and Shawn Michaels was going to be on the shelf for years.
Right.
Then I think Bret would have been fine. I think Bret would have been cool, and he would have probably had some good matches with Stone Cold.
He had great matches with Stone
absolutely.
Cold.
He would have had some real good matches
right.
with Stone Cold. I think Mr. McMahon probably still would have been created out of the Austin McMahon feud. Bret Hart and McMahon working together to stop Stone Cold Steve Austin?
Would have been a great story.
Would have been a great story. The corporation comes up, Bret Hart having an allegiance with Stone Cold against the corporation. Bret Hart wrestling The Rock. Bret Hart, Triple H joining a feud. A lot of different things that could happen.
You could have went a lot of different directions.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. And Bret goes to WCW and has basically like a lukewarm run there.
Yeah.
I mean, Bret did some good stuff there. Bret Hart, he had some great matches at WCW. It wasn't all bad. It's just they gave him the ball too late.
Right. It wasn't, and not saying his run was terrible, but it wasn't the Bret Hart we knew. It just wasn't.
They didn't know what to do with Bret.
Right.
Bret should have came in there. Bret Hart's first match was against Ric Flair, but Bret should have came in there. His first match should have been against Hogan.
It should have been.
That should have been the first match on the card.
You'd established him as a very high key player.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's one of those turns with Bret. Once again, like I gotta call it out. April 1998, WCW Nitro, the day after Spring Stampede. Bret turns heel, helps Hogan. No different than Jimmy Uso with his brother. Now Jimmy's turning heel. Didn't make any sense for me with Bret Hart. Why is
Yep.
Bret Hart all of a sudden now helping Hogan? Why is Bret Hart all of a sudden now he's signing with the NWO, but when he came here, he wanted to destroy him?
Right.
Doesn't make any
Right.
sense. Didn't make any damn sense.
Yep.
So, whatever.
Yep. That was number 3. Top 3. Number 2 is one that I almost had number 1. But I have it number 2 because number 1 for me absolutely wrecked my like for something that they have. But number 2, the sporting event that we didn't know we didn't need ever, and it should never happen again. Brawl for All. So much bad shit came out of that. So much bad shit. But the one good thing that came out of that was Bart Gunn. He actually was knocking people out. And then they said, well, let's throw him in there with a real boxer. And that was the bad one. That was the bad one.
Well,
First of all, you can put him in there with Butterbean, which on paper, okay, if he's knocking people out and he's doing all this damage, which the whole thing led to concussions and people getting legitimately knocked out on live television. You never want that look for wrestling. You never want that look. And it probably killed a couple people's credibility because seeing how they fight, right? But you go through that and you throw him in there with an actual boxer. And it's like, okay, well, you made this guy a star with this tournament. It wasn't that great, but then you put him in there with a real boxer, he gets knocked out. Why the fuck do we have this tournament in the first place?
all right, so we're going to go into a history lesson once again, real quick. So, the entire concept and the reason why the Brawl for All was created to begin with was because people were sick and tired of JBL and his bullying antics behind the scenes.
Is that why that was created?
Yes. Vince Russo legitimately wanted to see Bradshaw get his ass whooped. So, why do we do this?
We have to get Russo on the show, man.
Yeah,
this shit is great.
He created the Brawl for All. And it was all intents and purposes to get at JBL.
That's fucking amazing.
Yeah. So that's why it was created. Now, when you talk about did it do anything for anybody? No, it didn't.
No.
Did it do anything for Bart Gunn? No, it didn't.
No.
And I'm gonna tell you why it didn't. Bart Gunn was not supposed to win that tournament.
No, he wasn't.
Dr. Death Steve Williams was the favorite to win that tournament.
He knocked him out.
I'm getting to it. Dr. Death Steve Williams came over and was supposedly going to have a big push. Because remember, this is one of JR's guys.
I remember the story, yeah.
So he was supposed to get a big push. When he got knocked out by Bart Gunn, and nobody knew that Bart Gunn could do that,
he got
that
hands,
killed
bro.
the push.
Yep.
It wasn't, congratulations and adulation when Bart Gunn got backstage. It was like, yeah, we're going to chop this motherfucker down because that wasn't supposed to happen. That wasn't supposed to go down. So you remember when he won, right?
Yeah.
He was off TV for a minute. They didn't.
Yeah,
do
he
anything
was.
with Bart Gunn. Fast forward to WrestleMania. Well, we want to teach Bart Gunn. So you Mr. Badass, huh? You're a badass? Hey, we got an idea for you for WrestleMania. We're gonna let you fight Butterbean. This will be good. And Butterbean legitimately went there and knocked his ass out.
He knocked him the fuck out, bro.
And that was it. So when you say, well, it did not do anything for Bart Gunn. That led to nothing. That led to Bart Gunn basically getting out of the company. And mind you, let's look at Bart Gunn's his run in the WWF right quick. Started off with Billy Gunn. They were Smoking Guns. Multiple time World Tag Team Champions. Solid tag team. I like the Smoking Guns. Solid tag team.
Yep.
Then it was Bodacious Bart with Bob Holly. They were Bodacious. What was it? Bombastic Bart, Bodacious some shit they did. But it was basically the new Midnight Express with Jim Cornette. That's what they were. Then he all of a sudden these two guys have to fight each other in the brawl for all, and that killed the tag team and all of that. It did nothing for nobody. The only person that was in the brawl for all that did anything after this, that actually had solid careers in that
It's
tournament,
Bradshaw.
The Godfather,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and Hardcore Holly. They all went on to do shit.
I forgot he was even in that shit.
Yes, I think Bombastic Bart, Bodacious Bob, the new Midnight Express. That's what they were. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yep.
Yeah, so they went on to have decent careers. Not so much for Bart Gunn because they had nothing for him because he wasn't supposed to win. So it did nothing for anybody. It was petty for his creation. It was ruthless for his creation, and I love it. Just the concept of why Russo came up with that. Just the concept, just is
that is the pettiest shit
fantastic.
ever.
and I'm a Russo guy, so of course I'm
that is fucking petty.
Yeah,
I love it though.
Oh hell yeah!
Still,
it was great.
Still,
there's no other story now because they have a whole Dark Side of the Ring episode about the brawl.
They do.
People go out there and watch it. Because you look at it the perspective of Vince Russo, and then you look at the perspective of my man Jim Cornette. Excellent. I gotta look. You know what? Matter of fact, Cornette on his podcast, I gotta watch it later. He talks about the NWA incident.
Oh yeah, I gotta go watch that.
Yeah,
I know he went in.
I don't know yet.
He went in.
I don't know yet. I gotta watch it.
Oh, I know it's good. I gotta go watch it. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Let me get to my number one. My number one. My number one almost took me out, bro. Like for real. Keep in mind, it's rare when you see your hero make a turn and reinvent himself.
Oh, Jesus. I think I know what this is.
For as long as this went on and as entertaining as this was, the finish, the build up didn't match. It didn't match at all. It was terrible. It was terrible.
Can I guess what it is? And then if I'm wrong, you just say what it is.
Go ahead.
Is it Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock, WrestleMania 17?
No.
Okay.
It's Starrcade 97.
Oh my God. They were both shit fucking finishes.
Oh my, yeah, they were. But that one, Starrcade 97 had a worse finish.
Oh my God.
Bro, yes. You built this shit for a year. A legitimate year. To where I think this is where the love of Sting comes from this period for me that just lasted because you seen the way he invented himself. Like he went from Surfer Sting to the Crow Sting, and like that evolution was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like it was slow, it was like dark, and just seeing where he went to, like. The man didn't talk for a fucking year, bro.
Yeah.
And I loved it. Like, you didn't hear nothing from him for a year. And they kept going at this man and at this man. They brought people in. The shit with him and Macho Man. Like, when he came to the ring and threw Macho Man the bat and like didn't say shit, just turned around and Macho Man was sitting in the ring and he wouldn't move. He beat the shit out of the people that came out, and then Sting walks out. Like, that shit was phenomenal, bro. All the way up to, it's coming. It's coming. Sting, Hollywood, Hulk Hogan. And yes, we are getting this match at Starrcade. The finish. Vince McMahon says all they will remember is the finish. And it was bad. First and foremost, I'm pretty sure Hogan actually won that match, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, I know for a fact he did. He won that match. When Nick Patrick counted 1, 2, 3.
Yep, he actually won that.
He won that match. Now I don't give a damn if Bret Hart comes out there and he stops the referee from the timekeeper from ringing the bell. He won that match.
He won that match.
And they say it was a fast count. There was no fast count.
You couldn't put a Band-Aid on it, man. You couldn't put a Band-Aid on it.
All the build-up.
All that build-up.
All that build-up, all that time. And then you hear the stories from Eric Bischoff on his podcast about why that happened the way it did. And how Sting mentally wasn't ready. And Sting has some issues. Sting's documented he has some issues going on.
Right.
But they said they come in there. You remember this was Starrcade, Starrcade 97. It's the end of the year. It's Washington, D.C., the MCI Center. And they built this match up. Everything you just mentioned. The storyline started with Sting back all the way in September of 1996.
Yep. We
make our way all the way to December 97. It had been a cold build up until this point. They finally do the contract signing in Las Vegas at a press conference at the MGM Grand. People haven't seen the video of the press conference. It's on YouTube. Just type it in. It
was
cool.
Great.
Yeah,
it was great.
The build-up was great. Execution, not so much. Sting, basically, in my opinion, and I'll stick to it to this day, Sting lost that match.
Yeah,
Hollywood Hogan
I'm
won
with you
that
on
match.
That.
Hollywood Hogan won that match. The restart, the first finish of the match. First of all, you gotta look at the match in its entirety of what was going on there. The match was dominated the entire time by Hogan. Hogan dominated that match.
Yep.
Sting barely got any kind of offense. It was all Hogan. Then the finish happens. And Hogan hits him with the leg drop. Nick Patrick gets down. 1, 2, 3. There was no fucking fast count. Look at Nick Patrick's counts through the years through his matches.
All the same.
It
was a rhythm.
Count on point what he normally does.
Yeah, it was a rhythm.
Was it supposed to be a fast count? Maybe. Did someone tell Nick Patrick not to do the fast count? I don't know. Did someone come in there and say, that doesn't work for me, brother, because he doesn't have a good tan? And like, the guy hadn't been to the gym. All these different factors is basically took Hogan's excitement from here to here.
Yep.
Because he's looking at Hogan is essentially about to do what he did for Warrior in this match. It's what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then they come in there and they take a look at the guy. And like, brother, he ain't with it. He's not with it. He's like, something's wrong here. He's like, we're about to give you the biggest opportunity of your career, about to hand it to you, and you're not there. You're mentally not there. He said it didn't look like Sting had worked out in a while, had been to the gym religiously, had been going to the gym. It didn't look like he had tanned. All this shit, dude. This all played a factor into this decision. That's why they had to change the finish up. People got to look at something. People can say what they want to about Hogan. Hogan knows what he's doing at the end of the day. And he felt at this point, Sting wasn't ready. All the shit they had been talking about, all the plans that they had built throughout the year, this guy ain't ready.
Right.
Are we doing the right thing here? He ain't ready. So they had to have an out, is what they had to have.
Yep.
And it's a bad booking decision. It definitely is. But it's a bad booking decision, in my opinion, because the guy wasn't ready.
Right.
And like I said, Sting has talked about it. That's why he found religion. He was born again in August '98. Sting had some issues he was dealing with, prescription drug issues and all that type of shit that he was doing. A lot of drinking he was doing.
Yep.
Family life was being torn apart. He had a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, he had a lot on his plate.
He had a lot on his plate. So last thing he cared about, in my opinion, was wrestling. So he shows up, and they look at the guy, and like I said, Hogan, for all intents and purposes, Hogan was motivated to go out there and do it. It just didn't happen that way.
Yep.
And one of these days, we did this previously on No Gimmicks, where we looked at that match, but we're going to do it again. But we're going to look at the match in its entirety one of these days. We're going to look at the WWE Network version of this match, where we get really good quality, and we can actually watch this. And that's going to be on Patreon exclusive right there. We're going to do a watch along one day, and it's going to be Starrcade 97, specifically that match right there.
Let's
Hollywood
do it.
Hogan versus Sting. That's the one to look at right there.
Yep.
But I say that was a pretty good top 10 list there that we went into, we delve into, and we can. There's lots more out there, people. We didn't get a chance to get to my top 10. We went to Black's top 10. That was good. So
I appreciate it, man.
So next week, what we'll do on No Gimmicks Podcast is we'll look at the top 10 best booking decisions.
Let's do it. Let's do it, man.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that, man. But final thoughts, what you got?
You didn't have Stone Cold and The Rock on there.
I didn't. And
that was on my list.
I didn't put that one on there.
Right.
There was a lot that I had in my brain.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to put on there. Like one of my honorable mentions was David Arquette winning the title.
Yeah.
but that was one of them. But there was a lot I could have put on here, but some of this shit, if not all of it, well, besides Brawl for All, a lot of this shit changed the industry.
Yeah.
So that's why it ended up on there. But yeah.
Right. Well, Brawl for All changed the industry too, because it proves who the phony Chuck was. So
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true, man. All right, man. Final thoughts, what you got?
Final thoughts is we do a very, very good podcast.
We do.
The DFPN as a whole is full of great entertainment with great people doing the damn thing. So we appreciate all the support that we're getting out there and all the love that's being shown. And you can show us more love by going to the Patreon right now and subscribing for just $3. Okay? Like I said before, check us out. Check us out for a month. If it doesn't flow with you, cancel and tell us why, so we can get better. Also, when you're on the platforms, Spotify, Apple, whoever it is, leave us a review of the podcast. Let us know what you liked and what you didn't like, because we're only going to improve by your feedback.
Absolutely.
That's how it goes, man. Like I said before, right here on No Gimmicks, we strive to bring you the best pro wrestling podcast that we can. And that's just what it is. And as you've gotten here today, you got Blak, who came up with his list, and you have the chosen one, who basically delves into the history of this business. And
I ain't gonna lie, he got me right. He got me right.
Yeah. So that's what we do. And other than that, people, don't forget to embrace the dark side of the force. Shit. Embrace the dark side of the force and help control the pet population. Have your pets spayed and neutered so we don't have any more Jedi running around.
I like that you put that in there. Oh man. But like you said, I'm gonna piggyback off what he said, man. Make sure y'all tapped in. On Spotify, there's a Q&A. If you listen to this episode, leave us some feedback on Spotify, leave us a review on Apple, and let us know what you think of the show.
Five stars, brother.
Yep. Give us 5.
You're not gonna get what we bring here on No Gimmicks. Whether it be the wrestling, whether it be the Star Wars brother, whether it be the horror brother. I mean, look behind me, dude. You're not gonna get it anywhere else. Period.
Exactly.
Bar none.
Exactly.
As the Star Wars sign lights up in the back.
For the guys that are on Patreon, we have something coming on the front that I do want to make you guys aware of. We did a recap of Loki season 2 that left me with an idea for an interchangeable DFPN show. So I will come back to you guys with news on that as well. We're going to have a meeting here soon, and I do want to present that as an opportunity for DFPN as a whole to start coming together and bringing something exclusively to the patrons together. So that was really fun. I really want to do that again, and I really want that to be interchangeable. It doesn't have to be what we did. It could be anything, and everybody tapped in on it can share their thoughts on it. So,
real quick, when it comes down to like if I can put a highlight of the year for me doing this, in podcasting, right? The highlight for me will always be when I was on the United States Department of Nerds as Darth Vader.
Dude, that is a highlight on the network as a whole. That shit was awesome.
Right.
That shit was awesome.
That's the high. That was a highlight. And one day I'm going to do it again. But the next time I do it, it's Vader time.
Yeah. That was good. That was really good, man.
Oh, yeah.
And I know they appreciated it. I know there's opportunities for more stuff like that, because the more Star Wars stuff that comes out, we'll be able to react. And I know the group is actually really receptive to what you got going on. So they'll love to have you. And I want to be on one of these shows too. Shit.
Right.
But that's all I got, man. You got anything else?
Oh, that's it, man. We appreciate the support out there, and thanks for listening.
Nah, man, for real. So until next time, man, thank you guys for tuning in to the No Gimmicks podcast here on the DFPN.
The only No Gimmicks podcast that matters.
The one that matters, exactly. So make sure y'all guys come back. Until then, peace and enjoy whatever the fuck you want to enjoy. Peace.
And I know it's all business. We give them no gimmick. Yeah. And I know it's all business. We give them no gimmick. Yeah. And I know it's all business. We give them no gimmicks.